Here is a Mainstays branded PowerMax manufactured 42-inch Flushmount ceiling fan. I believe these are sold at a bunch of different stores. The one at Walmart, of course, would be the one that sells under the Mainstays name, because Mainstays is a Walmart house brand. Here's a look at the informations. It is the model number, well, I can't read it because I'm not close enough up to the fan. It's impedance protected, which I thought was interesting. Let's see if I can zoom in here. There we go. No, I still can't see it. Anyway, so it's impedance protected, which I thought was kind of odd for something made today. Usually these are just thermal protection. The light fixture is limited to, I think it said 40 watts incandescent or 10 LED, which is interesting to see that verbiage on there because historically they don't specify the bulb kind. Yeah, 40 watts, medium base, or 10 watt LED, which is kind of ridiculous because conventionally we could use if you want a more light, you could say put a 100 watt LED in there and it's still not exceeding the wattage draw of the cutoff that it lists. But now they're saying 10 watt LED only, so I don't know what that's about. I can only imagine it's some kind of funny energy conservation thing that's been put into play, and most likely, or well, rather obviously, the wiring can handle more than a 10 watt LED because it can handle a 40 watt incandescent. Regardless, that's ridiculous. The pull chains are labeled. You got the light chain over here, and then the fan chain over here. And curiously, the light string is longer. Usually the fan one is. There's the reversing control. The other side of the blades is reversible to I think it's a bleached oak kind of thing. They got a little bit damaged in shipping, so I installed this with the white side facing down because it was in better condition. The globe is kind of interesting. It's got like a matte, almost like a textured finish to it. Usually it's kind of more of a, not polished, but a clear reflective finish. And all the stickers on the housing look kind of ridiculous, but whatever. Other than the stickers, I think aesthetically speaking, this is not a bad looking fan. Kind of reminds me of the Hunter low profile, at least the motor housing does. The performance certainly does not, but that's a different story. I would have preferred that everything was brass, the chains and the screws and whatnot like it used to be, but they're all the chrome on this. Here's the light, and that is utilizing the 40 watts or equivalent, or the 9 watt draw LED light bulb that it came to me with. At least I think it was a 40, maybe it was a 60, I don't even remember. The light works just fine, and it's pretty hard to screw up a light. It's brighter than I thought it would be, but it is only one bulb, so can't expect too much illumination, especially in a larger room. Okay, let's go ahead and turn it on. It does kind of have a startup sound. I should have showed that. Oh, let's I'll show the startup sounds. It's faint, but it's there. The motor does have a little bit of a hum to it, but generally speaking, this is surprisingly quiet. Bearing in mind this is probably one of the cheapest ceiling fans you can buy today, and it's a flush mount unit, it's almost exceptionally quiet. There's very little airflow noise. Of course, there's also very little airflow in general, but there's very little airflow noise, and there's no obnoxious vibrations or anything like that. It's this minor motor hum, which is, it's not constant, it does fluctuate, so it's a little distracting, but it's, generally speaking, it's very quiet. I think almost anybody would find this completely satisfactory as far as the noise level is concerned. The airflow is minimal. This is installed in a 12 by 12 room, which is really more than it was ever designed to be in. I would say I personally would not use a 42-inch fan in much of anything bigger than like a 8 by 8 room or something like that, you know, small. But so anyway, so the point is it's at a very much at a disadvantage here. I'm sitting behind the camera at my computer table here, and I feel pretty much nothing. You know, if you look at the plant down here, there's not much airflow to speak of. There's pretty much no airflow at all. Now, the plant right underneath the fan is experiencing some airflow. If you have your bed underneath the fan, you'll feel plenty of airflow, but it doesn't really have enough power to really thoroughly circulate the air in the room. I think even in an 8 by 8 room, this wouldn't be moving a whole lot of air. It's just, it's not very powerful at all. Yeah, I mean, really, even standing directly underneath it, it's still pretty pitiful. You know, it's a cheap fan. It performs like a cheap fan. The fact that it's quiet and looks halfway decent, you know, I'm satisfied for the price. Doesn't really seem to shake at all either, which is good. The blade pitch is very shallow, and of course the blades being so close to the ceiling doesn't allow much air to get on top of them, so therefore it can't push very much air down. Paired with the very, very shallow blade pitch, it's just not going to do much. I think really the only situation where this would be useful is if you had a really, really small room, or if this was mounted directly above where you are, like mounted directly above a bed, mounted over a couch, you know, something like that, it'd be fine. But as far as circulating all the air in the room goes, it's not cutting it, at least not in here. And it doesn't seem to me like it has enough power to cut it in a smaller area either. Okay, we're going down to the medium. And you can certainly hear that motor hum. It's not overbearing, it's not obnoxious, but it's definitely there. Come on, tripod, get it together. And I just lost all my lighting. Where did the sun go? I'll show with the light on real quick. It's not the correct way to record a ceiling fan video because the whole frame just gets washed out, so turn the light back off. And we'll go down to the low. And that pesky hum remains there. You can hear it, just one part of the stator makes that noise. It's just a cheap motor. It's kind of to be expected. So this speed is pretty much useless. I mean, even standing under it directly, you don't really feel anything. Here is an ever so slight draft, which you can see on that plant, but it really isn't much. It's pretty pitiful, the air movement on this speed. It's more or less non-existent. Yeah, I would say this doesn't move any air. You're not going to put this on and all of a sudden feel relief from the heat. You're just going to be still sweating. Kind of a nice slower low speed though for something like this of this size. I'm surprised it goes down this slow. Of course it is useless, but that's neither here nor there. Alright, now we'll cut it off and we'll show the spin down time, which I think is a waste, but I'm sure somebody will need to see it. I don't know, it's not a bad fan, I guess, for the price. I installed it here and I'm going to leave it here when I leave. It looks nice enough for what it is. Looks nicer than most every ceiling fan sold today, in fact. Not many left of this kind of traditional style. I believe they also have a brass one too, which is surprising. And I think there's also a 52-inch model with 5 blades. I don't know if it's any better than this one. I suspect it must be a little bit better at least.